The final shape introduced one of the most unique exotics to ever be added to the game, Ergo Sum. You can farm random rolls of this special ammo exotic sword on the Pale Heart, and safe to say this thing is an absolute beast. There's 2 rolls that work very well with the build I'll be showcasing today that are really strong and most of all very fun to play with. The main exotic perk will be Arc Conductor, which reads, powered heavy attacks charge the wielder, enabling them to resist arc damage and chain lightning to nearby targets. You can use either the Wave Frame or Caster Frame variant with this build. Personally, I think that Caster Frame is a little bit stronger than Wave Frame, but unfortunately the RNG gods have not blessed me with that yet, so I'm sticking with my trusty old Wave Frame. My favorite thing about this roll on Ergo Sum overall is that whenever you use your heavy attack, you get the Arc Conductor perk similar to Risk Runner, where you resist arc damage and chain lightning to enemies all around you, but in this case, you don't even need to hit the enemies. You can just walk up to them, gritty on them, and they all die. Now let's talk about the different pieces of the puzzle that make this all come together. The exotic we'll be using with this build is the Crown of Tempests, to quickly generate abilities and synergize with the upcoming parts of the build I will shortly mention. The class ability we'll be using is Phoenix Dive. It's great here for instant health in case you get nuked by enemies, especially considering you'll be moving around a lot, making healing and empowering rifts less potent. You'll be using Arcane Needle for the melee here, to have 3 melee charges for the Lightning Surge aspect, which I will talk about in a moment. We'll also be using the only arc grenade option with this subclass, which is Storm Grenades, to jolt and get kills, which procs the Crown of Tempest exotic perk. As for the super, you're going to want to pick the super that matches the buff you want. For example, Void for Overshield, Solar for Restoration, Strand for Woven Mail, and Stasis for Frost Armor. The first aspect we'll be using is Feed the Void, as it'll give you a ton of instant health regen as you'll be getting kills constantly, as well as a lot of grenade energy per kill, which is perfect for getting more storm grenades. We'll also be using the Lightning Surge aspect, as it allows you to jolt targets all around you, which is perfect for proccing Crown of Tempests. It's also fantastic as a short-range option to pair with your short-range build centered around the sword. Since you'll be in short-range combat so often, we're going to start off with Facet of Protection, which gives you damage resistance when surrounded by enemies. Facet of Dominance is the second fragment, as it allows you to use your storm grenades to jolt targets, which also helps you proc Crown of Tempests. Facet of Sacrifice is also strong because it gives you more Transcendence energy to generate ammo for Ergo Sum via the Catalyst, which is hitting targets with a Prismatic Grenade gives you more ammo for the weapon. Facet of Balance is next, which will allow you to quickly generate melee energy since you'll constantly be chaining kills from your melee and sword. Facet of Purpose is paired with your super, which I mentioned earlier, to give you different buffs such as Amplified or Restoration, depending on your equipped super. This season's artifact allows this build to absolutely shine due to how many sword perks there are. Here's a list of the most important ones. Firstly is Overload Sword, which allows you to stun Overload champions and also reduce the damage output of combatants. Blade Stamina refunds your ammo when rapidly defeating combatants with your sword, which is perfect for the role of Ergo Sum we're using, and stacks very effectively with the Catalyst. Radiant Orbs is really important as it allows you to proc Radiant simply by picking up orbs, which gives you a 25% flat damage buff and synergizes with Facet of Sacrifice. Argent Blade is the biggest one here. This mod consumes your armor charges to empower your sword for a short time, which increases its energy charge rate and damage. You'll want to be using the heavy attack on the sword often, so this massively enhances it. Lastly, we have Shield Crush, which can be used a few different ways depending on your equipped super, but in this case we'll be using the second sentence of the perk, which grants you increased grenade charge rate and damage while you're amplified or radiant. You almost never not have one of these buffs, so you'll be able to get grenade kills and jolts frequently to proc Crown of Tempests. As for helmet mods, I use Special Ammo Scout / Finder and an Arc Siphon here. For your arms, Impact Induction, Grenade Kickstart, and Momentum Transfer. This will allow you to use your melee to get more grenade energy and vice versa. As for the chest piece, I like to run 2 damage resistance mods with 1 Lucent Blade mod, which will reduce the cooldown of your heavy attack on your sword. On our legs, we'll be running Invigoration to get more melee energy on orb pickup, as well as Recuperation to get more health on orb pickup, as well as Arc Scavenger to synergize with Special Ammo Finder / Scout, which increases the amount of ammo you get per brick. Firstly, on our bond, we use Outreach, which allows you to get melee energy upon using your class ability. Now, this synergizes with Powerful Attraction, as Powerful Attraction allows you to pick up the orbs all around you simply by using your class ability. This is fantastic for a build using Lightning Surge and this type of sword, as there's going to be orbs scattered all around you, and it saves you a lot of time in short-range combat. Lastly, we have Reaper, which allows you to get a guaranteed orb of power on your next weapon kill after using your class ability, which again synergizes with both Outreach and Powerful Attraction. Now, we've gone over the premise of the build, but I want to talk about why I chose to make this build. Crown of Tempest is really strong exotic that really never got used too much due to Fallen Sunstar becoming the meta for Arc, but I decided once Prismatic came out that I would try some off-meta exotics, and it turns out that Crown of Tempests actually is definitely one of the best Prismatic Warlock exotics overall, and even without the sword, you can make an incredibly powerful build. Ergo Sum releasing made me really excited as it allowed me to open up new doors for builds such as this. And as I said earlier, this build is so much fun to use because of the short range combat and combos you can pull off. If you enjoyed this video, consider hitting the subscribe button, as we are trying to push for 10,000 subscribers on YouTube, as well as dropping a like on the video to tell YouTube that you enjoyed it. Leave a comment on the video for any other builds you'd like me to try out, and I would love to cover them on the channel. And I may even choose one of yours and shout you out in the next video, who knows. Have a great rest of your day, Guardians, and peace.